400 Thunder began at the East Coast Nationals in Sydney. And what a race it is, a 468 for Corey McLenithan takes home the trophy. But when the series headed to the Wild West, it was a local hero who reigned supreme. Oh, another engine explosion for Mark Sheehan, pushing out a head gasket again, I think, but it doesn't matter. The crew walk away, there's high fives. A win is a win is a win, and Mark Sheehan takes home the trophy. Now it's time for the big boys of the sport to tear up the track at one of the fastest drag strips in the world. This is where raw power meets extreme science. Welcome to Nitro Max. This is 400 Thunder. Night one of the Nitro Max here in Perth. What an event we have got for you today. It's the first appearance on the calendar of the 3-round format. It's a little bit different to your traditional elimination rounds, but what it means is that these guys and girls only get one crack at the track in qualifying. That seeds the field for race day, and what that means is you have to be quick, you've got to turn on win lights, and there's an A and a B final at the end of it. What it means is ultimately a lot more racing for the fans, and it makes for a hell of an exciting show. Our first pair in this one and only round of qualifying, it is Mark Sheehan, the very, very tough racer out of WA. He's already got one win on the board this season, alongside American John Bodie Smith there doing the tuning on that car. And he is taking on the multi-time national champion in the form of Darren Morgan, with one of the youngest crew chiefs in the biz turning the knobs on that car. That is young Ben Patterson. He gives him the thumbs up, waves him into stage. We're set for a start. Great conditions here in Perth. Big crowd in the house. This is what drag racing is all about. Oh, and a side-by-side pass to kick off qualifying here. What a good run. It was a 463 for Mark Sheehan. Great run for him. He's almost down into the 450s already this weekend. Darren Morgan was right alongside with that 477. Both cars up around 480 kilometres per hour. So the candles went out a little bit before the finish line. And have a look at that super slow-mo. You really get a feel for what these big rear Goodyear slicks go through on a run. The squat, the growth, they smoke, they turn. Man, oh man, I don't want to come back as a slick in my next life, I tell you what. But Mark Sheehan, picture-perfect run to kick off the weekend for him. A 463, that is a fantastic run for that team. Let's go on board with Darren Morgan. Let's see what went wrong. And a little bit of fuel fitting came off there. So they broke the fuel fitting in the run. That would have eaten into that car, eaten into a little bit of the horsepower, and definitely take away a little bit of ET from that car. And this is what Mark Sheehan sees all the way to the finish line. Great way to start this weekend.
Oh, it was beautiful. Whole run, beautiful. We lost a blowout just before the end of the track, but, you know, that's life. So we're back here and, you know, doing what we do and getting back ready for the next one.
Yeah, good. We snapped the fuel fitting off the barrel valve, which took like 5 gallons away from the engine. We hopped it up during the last fortnight to try and go a little quicker. The things ran really well, as you've seen, but not as good as we wanted.
So the 4-time champ kicks things off. Still, I mean, a 477, nothing to hold his head low about. That's a great run under the conditions. And I'll tell you what, we've got another good matchup here. It is the two Rapisada Autosport cars. Damien Harris in the near lane. He will be taking on teammate Wayne Newby. And this is going to be another good matchup. Both of these cars with the capabilities of running well into the 450s at up over 540 kilometres per hour. Young Santo Jr. waves his driver into stage, and that's Tino there. He gives the thumbs up to his driver, Wayne Newby. The visor comes down, and things get serious right about now. He pulls on the fuel pumps all the way. You'll hear the note on these cars start to drop, and then we're set for a start. Oh, big move towards the centre line for Wayne Newby, and Damien Harris legs it on through. A 479, conservative run under the circumstances. Still top speed of the weekend so far, 486.37 kilometres per hour, but a 479, it's a good finding out run for Damien Harris. Wayne Newby, on the other hand, looked like that car might have been dropping a few cylinders. It moved way over towards the centre line at the other end of the racetrack, and one thing that you don't want to do when you're racing against your teammate is get over into his lane, because that can cause all sorts of problems. Still side by side, almost all the way to the finish line, dropping a few cylinders on board as well for Damien Harris. And that right there is the beauty of Top Fuel. Flames out the pipes, going fast at the other end and getting it stopped. That's what it's all about. On board with Wayne Newby. The head gets pinned back in the seat. The hands go to the steering wheel. It looks like he gives our camera a punch, but he's actually deploying the parachutes there. The visor comes up, and he'll be back to fight another day.
Yeah, look, it's really clean. It quivered just a little bit, but it just drove straight through there. It was really clean. It felt like it sort of nosed over just a little bit towards the top end, but other than that, it was good. So, and looking at the computer, it looks like it's dropped 2 cylinders in about 3.8 seconds. So those, my head and the computer sort of marry up, which is a good thing.
It was pretty good. The car left good, but we've had a vibration in the car that we've just got to try and find, and I had to shut it off because I could feel myself going to the centre line, but with the vibration, couldn't really see where we're going. So just shut it off early, and it's only qualified, so I'll come back next round and see how we go.
Well, it's only qualifying, but it's put Wayne Newby at the bottom of the qualifying list. That means he has to take on the #1 qualifier in the first round of racing, and that's a tough gig because he's got to take on Mark Sheehan, the man that we see on screen right now. 463 in the only round of qualifying that we saw. Wayne Newby was on path for a 4-second run as well, but unfortunately just went away at the other end of the run. It's going to be a tough gig here for Wayne Newby, though. This car has been running on a string all weekend long. And the candles go out for Newby, and the candles go out for Sheehan. He was a sitting duck there. No shoots either, going very, very late into the braking area. Should be okay to get that car stopped with the big carbon fibre rear brakes. 527, not in the realms of what we've seen from Mark Sheehan earlier on in the day. But I tell you what, it's enough to get the win light. That's what it's all about under this 3-round format. On board, and look at the movement in the front end of Mark Sheehan's car. He did a great job to keep that car in his lane. And on board with Wayne Newby, the camera goes fuzzy. That's tyre shake, and that's the end of that run.
We're trying. We're keep the wins on the board for the local fans, and keep these bigger teams on their toes.
Car left the start line pretty good, but it went out there and shook the tyres really hard, and we just had to lift. Just trying to get a handle on this new car, and it's had a few teething problems lately.
Teething problems indeed, but I'll tell you what, he'll be back for the B final, so he'll be just fine. Now, the one thing he doesn't want to do is race his teammate in the B final, which means that Damien Harris is going to have to get over the top of Darren Morgan. Now, on paper, this is a monster matchup. You've got a 4-time champion in the form of Darren Morgan. You've got the reigning national champion in the form of Damien Harris. Two of the baddest Top Fuel cars in the land on the start line at the same time. There is going to be an epic race on here, I will guarantee it. Neither of these guys like to lose, and they especially don't like to lose to each other. The might of the Rapisada Autosport team up against the power of the AEG Power Tools team. And we've got a race. How about that? 473 for Damien Harris. Darren Morgan, a 474, welded together the whole way down this Perth Motorplex 400-metre track, and 473 gets it for Damien Harris. He was close on the start line as well. 0.03 of a second separating these two right on the green light. You can even see the vapour trails coming off the rear wing, pulling the moisture out of the air. That was an epic race, one for the ages here. You never even see Darren Morgan out in front. That's because he's not out in front. He's right alongside him. That right there will go down in history as one of the best Top Fuel races we have ever seen in this country. Sensational stuff from these guys here in Perth.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good clean run. We made some slight adjustments to the clutch area, and it just went straight down there. And got a clean start, so that was good.
Amazing, isn't it? We seem to get the arse ones. But anyway, that's the way it is, and we'll fix that up, and we'll wick this thing up a little bit. We've been putting a little bit more power and a little bit more power in it. And we can't get on top of the track, so we'll take a big step because it's only the B final and see what happens.
So these are our matchups for our final rounds. The A final will see Damien Harris taking on Mark Sheehan, and the B final will see Darren Morgan taking on Wayne Newby. That's not what I would have expected at the start of today's race day. Welcome back to Perth. We're about to jump into the finals of the Perth Nitro Max event. And I tell you what, this is the world's fastest motorsport, but you only truly appreciate it once you slow it down into super slow-mo. Sensational shots from here in Perth. But we have got two killer finals coming up for you now. The B final will feature, well, one four-time national champion, taking on a national champion in a previous class. He used to race top alcohol in the form of Wayne Newby. Darren Morgan, of course, the four-time national champ racing for AEG Power Tools, has really got, I guess, the rough end of the pineapple here this weekend, has run flawlessly all weekend long, got beaten by a hair in the first round of racing, 474 to a 473 for Damien Harris. I would be expecting to see Morgan really try and push the limits a little bit here and try and step this thing up. Newby, I think, will be happy just to get a full run in. We're yet to see a 4-second run from him this weekend. And we certainly do get a 4-second run. How's a 466 sound? Darren Morgan, a 468 right alongside him. I tell you what, that's a great side-by-side race, and it's a win in the B final for Wayne Newby. 466, 505 kilometres per hour, but you've got a feel for Darren Morgan. This guy has been absolutely flawless all weekend long. We spoke about it before the run, and it proves true again. Here he goes, 468, quickest run of the weekend for him, third quickest one that we've seen so far this weekend, and he gets beaten. That's sensational for Darren Morgan, but Wayne Newby takes the win, 466. It just proves you've got to beat the guy who's in the other lane. It doesn't matter who else is racing or what everyone else is doing, you have to beat the guy in the other lane, and for Darren Morgan, couldn't get it done this time. Mark Sheen now taking his place in the A final. This one is for all the lollies, all the coconuts, whatever you want to say. This one is for the big butts. Mark Sheen, the local racer, would love to chalk up another victory here in Perth. He's taking on Damien Harris, the reigning national champion in this class, the might of the Rapisada Autosport team. They've got all the parts and pieces. They've got everything they need in that camp to be quick. And I tell you what, Damien Harris is looking to lay down a solid number here. It is a very, very good night for racing here in Perth. Humidity very low. The air temperature very, very good. Good conditions to making horsepower. It's going to be a matter of keeping it stuck to the racetrack, and it looks like Sheen's had problems. Upset of the weekend for mine. Damien Harris takes it, a 474. What a good round of racing for the Rapisada boys. Wayne Newby took it in the B final. Damien Harris takes it in the A final, and a 474. Sensational run for Damien Harris. Not as quick as what we've seen from Newby, but I'll tell you what, it's certainly a step in the right direction for these guys. And have a look at the puff of smoke as these cars leave. Not sure what happened for Sheen. The car was pretty clean till around about the 330-foot marker. It went silent, maybe kicked the blower belt off it. The pipes went very, very wet for Mark Sheen, and that indicates usually that he's lost drive of some description. And that shot right there shows just how close Damien Harris got to the centre line.
Yeah, the car sort of kept doing what we wanted to do. We didn't do anything really radical. We just wanted to slowly progress with the change we've made. So it's quite different the way we've configured the clutch setup to previously. So it's really just finessing and sort of making sure it's keeping moving in the right direction.
So this is the way the results shook out. Damien Harris took out the win for the Rapisada boys in the A final, beat the local boy Mark Sheen. Wayne Newby took out the B final for the Rapisada team and defeated the four-time national champ Darren Morgan. And I tell you what, this sets up some mouth-watering scenarios when it comes to night 2 of the Nitro Max, which we are going to jump into right now. This promises to be one of the biggest days of racing, and if it's anything like what we saw from night 1, it is going to be truly epic. First qualifying round, or the only qualifying round I should say, and it is Mark Sheen taking on Darren Morgan. This was a race that really set the tone for qualifying in the first round. Side-by-side 4-second pass to kick things off with these two guys. And hopefully we're going to see the same thing again from these two racers. Of course, two of the toughest top fuel cars in the nation. Mark Sheen only races locally, generally speaking, here in Perth, but has got a very, very good handle on this racetrack. And Darren Morgan, always a threat to win no matter where he goes. A little bit tardy on the start line, but it's a full pull for Darren Morgan and a 465. That's the way to do it. He bounces back from his loss in the B final last night and a 465 over the top of Mark Sheen with that 8.4 second run. It was clean for Darren Morgan. The car left very, very nicely. Very smooth transition when the second stage of the clutch kicks in, and just a clean pass for Darren Morgan. Looking across at Mark Sheen, it looked like he might have smoked the tyres. Just got a little bit too aggressive with that car, and that was all it took to basically end that run. You can see it's actually shredding the blower belt as well there for Darren Morgan. You saw lots of little wires and bits of rubber coming off. That's not a good thing, and still makes it even more impressive that he managed to run that 4.65 second run. But Mark Sheehan, he'll have to rely on his data from last night to come back for that first round of racing.
First round we were just a bit aggressive and it smoked the tyres. But we'll calm it down and get it back out there.
Oh yeah, we had to swap an engine out. We marked up the camshaft a bit. We heard a lifter, so to be on the safe side, we're just putting a fresh engine in to make sure the thing's okay, and we'll be back out there.
It's always nice when you've got the spare bullets in the garage, or in the trailer I should say, to slot into that car if you've got any problems. And Darren Morgan has certainly got the inventory there. Our second matchup of this qualifying round, we'll see the teammates Damien Harris and Wayne Newby. Now, to kick the weekend off, Damien Harris really had the wood over Newby, but Newby has come on strong since then. Won the B final last night with a 4.6 second run, and this looks pretty good again. A 467, booming speed as well, 525 kilometres per hour. That is a huge run. It's not enough to take the number one qualifying spot. So Darren Morgan, the man who finished 4th last night, will start race day on day 2 of this Nitro Max event as the number one qualifier.
Oh no, that was a really good run, and it's our best speed with this car. So we've got something to work with there, and we'll go in the next round and see what we can do.
So this is the way qualifying shook out for the Nitro Max event day 2 here in Perth. Darren Morgan leading the way, Wayne Newby right in behind him, Mark Sheehan in 3rd, and Damien Harris rounding out the field, the winner from last night at the bottom of the qualifying list. .400 Thunder race time now, and it is the Nitro Max event here in Perth. And funnily enough, even with a completely shuffled qualifying order, we've ended up with exactly the same first round matchups that we had on night 1 of Nitro Max. First matchup will be Damien Harris taking on Darren Morgan. And of course, we know that Damien Harris went on to bigger and better things last night, had a sensational run in the final round, took out the A final. Of course, his teammate took out the B final, so really the only way it could have been better is if those two cars matched up against each other in that A final. But we've got a good race here. Conditions tonight even better than what we saw last night. These cars are making plenty of horsepower. The track is in fantastic shape. A big tip of the hat to the Perth Motorplex crew for getting this track into such good condition here. We've got a good crowd in the house, and we are set for a start. You've got to remember there's a championship on the line here for these guys as well, so it's all to play for here in Perth. Whole shot to the Rapisada car. He's first off the start line. Some sparklers coming out, and Harris does a repeat of last night, takes out the win on a whole shot, a 463. A 463 beats a 462. Now, for those of you new to drag racing, that means that Damien Harris was faster off the start line, but his car wasn't as quick. He still managed to hold that advantage across the finish line. And Darren Morgan for the AEG Power Tools team, a 462 with a 4. Fantastic run, one of the quickest that we've seen so far this weekend. And man, oh man, beaten on a whole shot. What a race.
Yeah, no, it was a good clean pass. So I think Sano Junior was able to tickle the car a little bit and went out there and ran 63, I think. So fastest lap for the weekend for us. So all the changes are really heading in the right direction.
Heading in the right direction is certainly the understatement of the day for Damien Harris. A 463, driver wins that one, chalk that one up for Damien Harris. But we move on to the next pair now, and Mark Sheehan and Wayne Newby. This is going to be a good one. We've seen what the track can hold. Low 460s seem to be the number right about now. We know that Mark Sheehan can certainly run in that realm, and we know that Wayne Newby has got a brand new car underneath him. They're slowly getting a handle on it, and I'd be expecting to see them try and wind that power in. This is for a spot in the A final. Whole shot advantage to Rapisada, but look at Sheehan at the top end of the racetrack. And how's that? A 453. 453 with a 7. That is the quickest pass we have ever seen from an Australian-driven top fuel dragster in this country. Sensational pass for Mark Sheehan, 531 kilometres per hour. I cannot put enough emphasis on this. Wayne Newby did nothing wrong. A 469, it was a great run, but it was just beaten head and shoulders by Mark Sheehan. 4.53 seconds to cover a standing 400-metre track. That is insane. Congratulations.
The 53 was pretty impressive. Was pulling very hard. So we're going to try and tweak it a little bit more this run and throw a bit more at it and see if we can be the first to run a 40 in the country.
Yeah, we were never going to try and run that. Not yet anyhow, and credits to him, like they ran really good and good speed. So we're happy with what we've done. Disappointing, but put on a good show for the crowd. That's the main thing.
Sensational run. There's only been a couple of drivers go quicker than that in this country, and they were all Americans. Mark Sheehan will lead the way into the A final with Damien Harris, and Darren Morgan taking on Wayne Newby in the B final. And speaking of the B final, we have got a rematch of our B final from last night. And to say that a 4-time national champ was only in the B final is a real testament to the quality of top fuel dragsters that we've got here this weekend. It has been an insane event. We've still got plenty more to come. And it will be Darren Morgan taking on Wayne Newby. Now, Newby and Santino Rapisada and this whole crew really starting to get a handle on this race car. They took the win in the B final last night. Can they repeat? No, they can't. Big fireball for Newby. And Morgan, no. He's shredded a tyre there. The left rear on that top fuel dragster is coming apart. That's a very, very dangerous situation. He still takes the win, and fortunately looks like he's got that car pulled up safely at the other end of the racetrack, but that is potentially a very, very scary situation. The reason being, when these rear tyres let go and they chunk like that, sometimes you see chunks of rubber go through the rear wing. It can completely destabilise the car. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for Morgan here. He takes home a little bit of consolation out of what has been a good weekend in terms of performance for this team, but as far as win lights and results and championship points, hasn't been the best for them. On board with Wayne Newby. Big flash of flame, and that's the end of his weekend.
Oh, absolutely. The car's flawless. We are creeping up on it because that's the way we go. We haven't got the big budgets and stuff, but amazing. Time after time comes out, runs 40s, then 60s back to back, and Nelly into the 50s. Yeah, I'm happy.
So Darren Morgan with a big smile on his face. We move on to the A final. It's a repeat of last night, but I tell you what, I never thought I would say this. Damien Harris, the reigning national champion, comes in as the underdog here after that 453 in the first round from Mark Sheehan. He has to be the red-hot favourite on his local track here in Perth, with the American tuning him. Now, when I said that he's gone the quickest run that any Australian has ever gone, that is correct. We've seen a couple of cars go quicker, but they were driven by Americans in the form of Larry Dixon and Scott Coletta. They've both gone in the 4.50 range. So for Mark Sheehan to go 453, it really is a sensational run. And well, one guy who does not hold back, it is Sando Rapisada Jr. He waves his steed into stage, and he will be swinging for the fences here, I guarantee it. Oh, both cars moving around ever so slightly. And how's that? Wow, Damien Harris says, I'll take your 53 and I'll match you. 453 with an 8, only 1,000th of a second slower than what we saw from Mark Sheehan. 456 for Mark Sheehan. He was way behind at the finish line. Harris takes the win. That right there is the quickest side-by-side top fuel pass we have ever seen in this country. Sensational stuff from the top fuel teams here in Perth. Let's have a look at the replay, because Damien Harris was doing some driving on this run. That car moved around a bunch before half-track. Sparks out of Sheehan's car before half-track as well. He got way over near the centre line, had to reef that car back over into the centre of his lane, and that was probably what cost him the win there. Harris just sneaking ahead right at the finish line. You can see the front wing was actually over the centre line. You've got to cross it with your tyre, though, to be disqualified. He did a good job of keeping that thing straight and narrow. But Damien Harris, 453, what a way to end the weekend. And very happy scenes on the start line. Man, oh man, this has been a long time coming for this team, and smiles and high fives and hugs all round for the Rapisada team.
Yeah, no, it was surprising, to be honest with you. So running a 53, you know, we've been chasing the 50s for a while now, and finally got one, which is awesome. So, but yeah, it was a clean lap. It just felt, you know, like a 60 something at the end of the day. So, but yeah, no, it's awesome. So to go back to back this weekend is really, really cool.
I tell you what, Damien Harris, for a guy who just went 453, you talk about cool, calm and collected, and he leads the points. These are the series standings after 4 rounds of racing. Darren Morgan in there as well, only 12 points behind. Mark Sheen in third, courtesy of his performances this weekend. Wayne Newby and Corey McLenithan rounding out the top 5. On next week's show, we've got the absolutely insane top bikes from this event, the Nitro Max here in Perth. Well, that's all we've got time for on today's show, but what a show it has been. For all the information about this series, check out the website 400thunder.com.au. From the Perth Motorplex, 400 Thunder, we'll see you next time.